into teaching, which is not going to take too long. Nicole, you can see my screen. I know you're the barometer.
Yes, I can.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Cultural ontology and ongoing breakthroughs, a comeback collective circle exploration. We are not static beings. We are unfolding wisdom. And the reason why is that so important is that as we had the precursor conversation, it's about recognizing where we are at as a community. We can be established with a bunch of great ideas without the real power of being in the space of implementation. How are we implementing it? Even if we bring certain individuals, which will occur, but we have to be in a space that we recognize that is no longer just moving by faith. You have to have the awareness of what's going on around you so that you can be established as you go forward. Okay. Is it me? Okay, let's try this again. Oh, there we go. Who are we becoming? Divine unfolding. Being is not a fixed state. It's a divine unfolding process of continuous growth. Our ontological growth. Growth is not optional, it's ontological, woven into the very fabric of our existence. And our sacred emergence. The sacred self is always emerging. Comeback isn't an event, it's a being state. And so, as we move through these respective conversations, having these as our foundational tools and spaces, we're recognizing we're not just coming back into a situation or just coming back just to share information. We're in a space of, okay, what type of state of being are you? Because now we can move from at times being an information overload, or we can be in a space of, okay, what did I do with this information that was handed to me? How did I apply it? How did I move through it? And the reason why some of the conversations, especially prior to this share, are ultimately needed, because if we're not aware of the game, you can be creating ideas left and right. But if you're not aware of how the game may have shifted or how things are removing themselves or moving in a particular way, the ideas are excellent. But is it really going to work? Or we just do it just to do it? What is cultural ontology? The being of a people. Definition: ontology, the study of being. Cultural ontology: how identity is shaped by story, systems, and soul. And that's one of the main reasons why, as we create these living legacies that we move through, it's about respecting the past and understanding those different parts that have allowed us to get to where we're at. But understanding we have to take that and not just move through those struggles or move through those areas of development or growth or even possibility, and recognize how do we take that as a foundation and bring it forward. That's why collective consciousness holds both wounds and wisdom. So we can drop wisdom every day, every day, every day. And it's not harping on the wounds because you're focused on it, or just keep talking about the cut, or keep talking about the same cut. No, that doesn't do anything. But when you recognize that there was a purpose even for that particular wound, so that you were able to learn from it, and we were able to galvanize as a community and able to develop powerfully into a greater possibility, then we're recognizing what those who were forerunners for us left for us. We inherit and transmit ways of being generation to generation. It's like certain things keep being perpetuated. Sometimes the great habits and sometimes the not so great habits. Sometimes the great perspectives and sometimes the not so great perspectives. Now, what is it that we're doing that we're passing the baton off onto others? As you can see by this picture, You have three generations in this picture. Now you can be transmitting things that can be enlightening and growing, or at the same time, you could be transmitting your struggle and how we make the assumption that things will hopefully be better instead of us being in action to make it be better. There's always a bigger difference in it all. The work of breakthrough. We break down to break through. See, I always articulate it or put it at the same thought pattern of if you're fixing a home that has mold in it, or if they tell you it's cheaper to tear the whole house down and just rebuild it. And sometimes we don't want to go through the breakdown process. We just want breakthrough. We just desire to breakthrough. No, how do we get this breakthrough? Okay, I got you. But how did we get here? We got here through a series of breakdowns. We may even gotten here through a series of missteps, failures, possibilities, things that were lessons that allow you to say, wait a minute, because I went through this, now I'm experiencing this over here. And it's part of the process. And sometimes we can attempt to minimize or mitigate that. Nah, I don't want to deal with that. It's supposed to be just over here. It's like, okay. And then you may experience the breakthrough and not be able to hold on to it or handle it because you didn't go through the necessary steps. Because we was focused on saying, I desire not to experience no breakdowns. Just give me the blessing. It doesn't work because they all work together for good. So sacred invitations. Breakdowns equal invitations to deeper authenticity. So even all the stuff that's happening around us from a country standpoint, a geopolitical standpoint, these are all breakdowns. That not that we're supposed to live through the breakdown, but we're recognizing, okay, what is this inviting me to do? Where is it inviting me to grow into? What is it giving me the possibility of? That's why breakdowns are great. And you have to acknowledge the breakdown in order to get to the breakthrough. Sacred portal. Trauma isn't a stop. It's a sacred portal to transformation. If you haven't been through something, if you haven't experienced failure, if you haven't experienced certain things that may seem like a loss, then all you're doing is looking to win. Like how me and Ms. Johnson were joking earlier about, our different sports teams and things of that nature. But at the same time, there are times that there are losses that make you better. My God, we lost this game. What are we going to do? Okay, we can re-strategize. We saw certain things that we did that were ineffective. Okay, we minimize this. The next time that we get on this field or this court or this space, we can be even better. But if we didn't experience those breakdowns, how can we break through to ultimately become a champion in life? New birth. When the old identity fails, the new one is born. See, this is a season where we get the opportunity to have rebirth. All of us. You get to have a rebirth. You get to say, okay, because of these things that's happening around me, what do I get to augment who I can be? Who I am being from an ontological standpoint? Who I can transform myself to be, not just to look around and say, oh my God, this stuff is happening around me. The sky is falling. The sky is not falling, because you may say that, and that may be your interpretation, while other people are saying there are possibilities of expansion. So you can either constrict or you can expand. In either way, you're correct. But it's always going to go back to your own respective perspective. And sacred curriculum. Your breakdown is the curriculum for your breakthrough. When people say that we are books that other men can read of, we are. And if your book is always about, well, I'm just looking at the glass is always half full, and, we just talk about all the good things and create all the avenues of this and create all the avenues of that, that's excellent. But as we see that symbol for yin and yang, there's always positive and negative. There's always balance. There's always areas like, wait a minute, have you experienced a real breakdown? And how did you go through that? How did you grow through that? No, 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 I had a breakdown that stopped me. And you had a breakdown that stopped you. Why did it stop you? Oh, because I'm just not going to do anything else because, I experienced a breakdown. All I'm going to do is talk about my breakthroughs. No, we need to experience that because your breakdown may be the same thing that mirrors someone else's breakdown. And if you still ended up into a space that you ended up being successful, powerful, being more community minded, and you're allowing even some of those things to even allow you to be exposed to say, wait a minute, because of all of this, I experienced this level of possibility over here. I know Tyler Perry talks about it all the time, where he had to go from that space where he was sleeping in his car to now people are coming to his acreage to create. So what if he never experienced those breakdowns, which was a part of his overarching story? Would he have had the opportunity to experience the breakthrough? Cultural wounds as sites of renewal. From scar to sacred site. This days I look at my legs, I see certain scars that I can remember I got that maybe when I was a teenager or, in the spaces, I remember when I skinned my knee, learned how to ride a bike and stuff like that. But one thing about it, even though the scar is there and it's healed over time and I can still faintly look at it, I can still remember how that was still a badge of honor for me. Because even my human body didn't say that, oh, you're stuck there. You have to keep living through that. You're healed. You are able to take that memory or that lesson or that possibility and transform it into something that keeps assisting you in redefining or defining who you are. So, purpose refined. The pain of the past is where purpose is refined. We all have pains. We all experience missteps. We all experience things that we may not necessarily like. But if you're willing to refine yourself and to really look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I can't stay as the status quo just because I choose to. Or if certain things are brought to respective attention, there's a reason for this. Or we can stay in the past and say, I'm just going to do my own thing. I like this and I like that, and that's what it is. But we always have the ability to refine and utilize the choices that we have. Transformation. What once oppressed can now be transformed. See, even when you look at, if we go from a spiritual standpoint, or a biblical standpoint, even for the children of Israel to navigate to the space that they eventually hit the promised land, they were even still oppressing themselves by their actions, by their movements, even though they were free from Egypt. But until they started to get a different mindset and started to allow some of those things that was not workable to die off, that's when the transformation process really started to lay hold, and they were eventually able to go into the land that was promised them. The same thing with all of us. We all have opportunities and things that we can choose to do, and then we choose not to do. And then we get upset by those choices, or we start to lay down and keep that wound open. It's like, no, it's not really a wound. Allow it to heal. Now let's do something else. Let's push forward. Let's recognize how it can be transformed. Living archive. Our culture and heritage is a living archive. I mean, we have to recognize that all those sacred spaces, before we get to sacred healers, all those individuals that laid the foundation for where we're at now, regardless of your story was impacted in any type of way, your story is your story. Your cultural dispensation is what it is. But how do you allow it to help you become emboldened to be transformed by it? Or we're just here to just keep rehashing and talking the same stories? Because this one did this and that one did that. Wait a minute, whoa, whoa, whoa. How are we elevating those griots? And a griot is usually that person who's holding on to the things that keep us culturally entwined? How do we reach out to those griots? We're like, yo, we need to perpetuate those things, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we're still here. And that's those usually those griots are sacred healers. And hopefully you're doing that for yourself as well, or learning how to do that, being a part of this community. Because we become healers of the very ground we were harmed in. You are not afflicted in a space that you're not called to help, to be in a space to heal. Unless you're being selfish and you're only thinking about yourself. Anything that afflicts us meant that, okay, you went through it and thrived, not just survived, but thrived, so that, wait a minute, I can pay this forward. I can go back and assist. I can go back and recognize that it's not just about the information I have for me. This information I have for me, it can be spread, it can be shared. So we all benefit in the spaces of renewal that we so choose to move through. Circle as a sacred clearing, spaces of reflection and rebirth. And as we see I consider this an ontological lab, or, because we're dealing with being. That is more or less the mission and the essence. And through being that being, you start to recognize, am I being a being in my financial sense? Am I being a being in my health sense? Am I being a being in my mental health space? Am I being a being how I'm interacting with family? Am I being a being just to take care of others so they may not necessarily take care of you? And we start to position ourselves in all these different areas. And now those are the different fragmented pieces that now that we're starting to become a tone or at one end, now we start to recognize, okay, so now that I've experienced all these different things, how was bringing me back to my space of generating the life and the path that I am? Healing through listening. Listening becomes healing. See, it's not so much that you need to listen to others, but if people are not listening to you, you have to also look at that as well. Because we can be so caught up in what I need and what I desire, you stop listening. Because the only thing you care about is what I need and what I desire. Okay, I got that. Are you being in the space of reciprocity? Are you being reciprocal? Or is it about you? Or are you just giving someone permission to be because it only benefits you? Design through dialogue. Dialogue becomes design. Your words will shape your worldview. If you run around, I ain't got it. This ain't good. This ain't great. And now, whoa, 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 whoa. And then turn around, I'm full of possibility. Oh, okay. Hmm. Are those different moods? They are. Because if you're willing to be diligent, no one said that the path is going to be easy. But if you're willing to stay on the path, as I gave an example about Mr. Perry, you're willing to stay on the path, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But you may be lied upon, you may be all the different things that you may consider to be negative will go along with all the things that will be wonderful and positive. But it always starts with what you say, what you see, and what you envision from yourself. And some things from an ontological space, we have a lot of baggage that we keep regurgitating and living through, which we can be the ones that are self-minimizing. And mirror and midwife. Every participant is both mirror and midwife. And for us men here, it's because I put the word midwife. We do need that midwife. And the reason for that is who's going to help carry us through that situation? This is not a solitary thing. It's not solitary. When you're really going through the respective experiences, it's not solitary. It's not just what you're doing. It's like, okay, how is my behavior impacting in this thing as well? Or we're not focusing on that because it's all about the I. Because you should always be mindful when there are always more I statements than we or us. It's just to show the actions just prove beyond measure. So remember, each of us is both the mirror and the midwife. We have to look in that mirror sometimes, looking at ourselves, okay, I could do better than this. I can do better than that. Okay. Now, who can I find that can either help me be that accountability partner? Who can be that person that may be that person that will assist me and make it and not doing the goal for me, but assisting me so that the goal can be accomplished? Or you end up just having to do it by yourself or find others who are willing to be a part of the process with you because there's always a process. All breakthroughs take process. Just a thought. Always becoming, which equals the activation process. Live the breakthrough. Don't chase it. Your daily inquiry asks daily, who am I being in this moment? And I love this image on the right because there are times we just need to sit and relax and just meditate and really ponder and allow for the rebirth to happen within us, not just outside of us. See, what we hear that's happening, even around us, and even some of the things we may have spoke about earlier, those are things that we should be aware of. That doesn't mean you have to allow it to infiltrate your soul. It's just now it's like, wow, okay, now I'm aware of what's going on. Now I get to navigate accordingly so we can course correct or we can be in those spaces of possibility or be in those areas that other people are experiencing breakdowns. We can figure out how we can help them have their breakthroughs. And you're feeling like you're moving in a space of service, not just servicing. Number two, we must honor the breakdowns. Honor your breakdowns. Don't hide from them. And why is that so important? Because sometimes we like to not talk about those things. Or if we talk about those things, we always want to give it a skew because it's still about looking good instead of recognizing those breakdowns. If you did not experience those breakdowns, you would not be where you are. And that is in all areas of your pathway. And your persistence in your existence will show itself that, okay, you survived your breakdowns. Wow, you must be a very powerful person. And you are. Speak declarations. Speak declarations that birth your next identity. Think about that. You are shaping your path daily. Regardless of your entrepreneur, regardless of whatever space of the marketplace you're in, you are speaking those things in life. There are people right now that are probably making millions upon millions of dollars while other people are experiencing a breakdown. You have the ability and the opportunity to go through the process to speak the right declarations that will birth what will happen next. And part of that is knowing what's going on around you. It's like a book I remember back in the day in the 90s that I was encouraged to read. Who Moved My Cheese? Great book. And even in this time, who moved your cheese? Because your cheese may have moved. That doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it bad. The cheese just moved. Did you move with it? Or are you keep going back to the same rat hole? Because that's all you're comfortable in. Maybe that's all you know. Because it's hard to move into that next identity. Because moving into that next identity means that what you were, you can't necessarily be where you're going. And practice declaration number 4. I am the evidence what culture can become. We are identified by the culture that we are allowing ourselves to be powerful through. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to take every single part of the culture to heart But it's always great to be empowered and to be powerful through the cultural conversations that you have. Because now you're starting to recognize how emboldened you're becoming, how that culture has helped shape you. And when you say every culture, no culture is perfect, not a one. But there's still many more great things that come out of it than things that we say, oh, I don't like that. Why I don't like that. Okay, that's good. You don't have to like everything, but it's still shaping who you are. So you can at least respect it. Even if you don't like it, you can at least respect it. You can respect the fact, oh, I don't like cheese. Okay. It's because you don't like cheese doesn't mean that you don't like cheese. Or you don't like this or you don't like that. That's great. But we can still respect it. Okay, we know that if we cook this, don't put cheese in it for this one. Because we're respecting you in that declaration that you made. So that is something that we all have to practice daily. And as we go through this collective inquiry for your journal or for your respective circles that you should be building and breaking down and allowing yourself to navigate through, your cultural breakdowns. Where have I seen cultural breakdowns in my family or community? You see, there are certain things that may be precipitated outside of the community that may exacerbate that. And we are still called to be healers within our own respective family, community, and at large, even to those that we feel that we're called to serve. Release. What old way of being am I being called to release? See, we can be so stuck in just marching forward. You're not recognizing you still got a lot of baggage back there that you're still dragging. No, 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 I gotta keep talking about it. Okay, okay. If you're not caught, if you don't feel that you need to be in the new space of who you're becoming to release that other stuff, then not necessarily growing or changing. You're just status quo, and it's just a new day and a new dollar. Your new identity. What new identity is trying to be born in me right now? And the reason why I put that word trying there, because when we may be minimizing ourselves, that's where now we're in the space of trying instead of moving in the space of attempting or desiring or recognizing, like, wait a minute, this is not going to be easy, but I know where I'm going towards. I know where I'm allowing my path to be. And it's not so much that you're walking with blinders, but you're recognizing, like, okay, what am I attempting to do that can be born, that can be a catalyst to the next level of greatness that I have the possibility, that being that I can be and becoming. Who am I becoming as I heal? And for each and every one of us, it's different. It's not locked into a particular space or a box, or it's not done like this, then it's wrong. No, your becoming is your becoming. Because everyone gets self-revealed unto themselves. And some people choose not to be self-revealed, which is also a choice. So we're not making it bad, we're not making it good. But if you're stuck doing the same old, okay. Then after a while, people around you are going to do the same old, same old. But when you're ready to move in that space of becoming, now all of a sudden you start to see everything starts to gravitate and starts to move in some level of alignment to what you're doing. So becoming is so important as your being, because we're all being something and we're all choosing what that being will be. And with that being said, I am complete. Any thoughts? Any ideas? Let's see, a hand raise. Who has the hand raise? Who has the hand raise? Or was that from earlier? Any thoughts? Anything that anyone desires to share? One or more Mooring. Go ahead, Miss Mooring. How are you doing?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
I just wanted to say, great session and, enlightening, and also the prior conversation before the presentation. I agree. There's work that has to be done in all communities, but the community that I'm in, I have a responsibility. What is it that I need to do? What can I offer? And so I look forward to the further conversations, and that's something that I'm really going to be thinking about. How can I better support my community? Because it is needed, and there's absolutely no reason for me not to play a role. All this time, we are being prepared for advancement and growth in life, but there's a higher calling, and I have to do my part. So thank you for, again, the teaching, because and the discussion, because it has to be. We all see what's going on, but we know it's a brighter day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Anyone else before we start to bring this train into the station? And thank you, Ms. Johnson, for dropping some of those nuggets in the chat. And so, as we recognize how we can be empowered as we flow forward, our beingness is always speaking. And allow your beingness, if your beingness is bigger than you, then, and not saying that has to be bigger than you every single day, every single moment of the time, but when you recognize that when you're vibrating in that beingness, you're allowing for certain spaces of elevation and possibility to happen. And it's always wonderful to experience. And so, as we bring this to a close, as always, we appreciate your support here at the Comeback Collective Circle. The different ways that you can support the circle as we utilize these resources to help expand and to express and to expose to more individuals the possibility of how this ontological work will assist and grow. And if you desire to do it via Cash App, there's $ Gregory Clarke D Min. If you're doing it via Venmo, Gregory Clarke D Min, same as above without the $. And of course, if you desire to do it via Zelle or PayPal, it's the same email address. And that happens to be esquire971@gmail.com. So until next week, as we can't wait to have some more wonderful conversations and be relatable to each other from a community standpoint, continue to be excellent. Continue to be in those spaces of elevation. Continue to be, and even if it means you're only 1% better or even 0.5% better than you was the day before, and you're taking those necessary steps and you're seeing the possibilities happen, because it's not about a quick fix. It's about recognizing the process is the process. And if you don't skip any steps, that means you never have to go back to repeat a course in this space called life. So once again, love you to life. Continue to elevate, continue to share the platform. If you know others who you would think that were encouraged to be a part of this community, they can join the Facebook group on, the Facebook group. I was about to say the Facebook group on Facebook. You can join the Facebook group, and of course, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, Dr. Gregory Clarke, Master Coach, as we are all here to elevate and to grow. So be blessed, be powerful, and continue to be. See you all next week.
Yeah, peace and blessings to all. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Your family.
Good night.
Good night.